I want to start building assets for a medieval village collection, but I can't decide on what to build first. That's why, in today's video, I rely on a lucky wheel to choose out of the 14 villager jobs in the game, and whichever one it lands on, I will build for. If you enjoy my videos and you'd like to see more, consider leaving a like and subscribing. It would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get building. So, here I have a wheel containing all of the villager professions. This is going to be fairly simple. Whatever village profession I land on, that's what I have to build for. If I land on the nitwit, I'm just gonna build a normal villager's house, like a normal civilian. Okay, let's do the first spin. And we landed on a mason. Okay, so let's build a mason's house. The concept phase was easy. I found some inspiration pictures on Pinterest, and I compiled them with my own imagination to form an idea of what I'd like a mason's house to be. With the concept formed, I quickly moved on to building the rough concept. At first, I wanted to have a fence-like bit outside of the main structure, but then I ended up changing it to more of a walled outcrop, with the idea of having the stones the mason has to work on be stored under a wooden covering. This is another thing I like to do when designing decoration for builds. You have to think from the perspective of what that person would have next to his house. A fisherman might have a small pier leading to the water from where he can fish. A farmer might have wheelbarrows or other farming equipment, so on and so forth. This will give your build a nice atmosphere and help integrate it into the world. I also decided on having a tower bit on top of the roof to break up the shapes a little. I want to start playing around with my texturing skills and trying new things. You'll see what I mean later on. Now on to my favorite part, the detailing. I changed the walls to cobblestone, the frame to spruce, the roof to jungle planks, the outer wall to tuff, and in the beginning, I changed the framed wall to white terracotta, but this won't end up staying in a finished build. I tried making the windows out of trapdoors again, but it didn't work out, so I changed them into scaffolding. This is my favorite window design, and it's also the one I use most frequently. The tower was initially spruce, but then I decided to go for some contrast on the build and changed it to mangrove. I began shading the walls using tuff, which is generally the best block to shade stone-colored walls with. I tried using andesite too, but then I realized coral blocks and gravel would work much better for this one. I moved on to the wooden frame, and I textured it with my usual combo. Later on in the build, I try and mix it up by using brown wool and brown glazed terracotta to add some more variation. I was going back and forth between the roof and the tower, using exposed copper and granite for the former, and different red blocks for the latter. But by the end of the build, the tower will also get some crimson bits to give the build a colorful pop. The tuff wall was easy to texture. I just used tuff bricks and the wall and slab railing on top of it. This will change by the end as well. You can see a pattern here forming, as I keep changing stuff later on. I started using some mossy stones on the wall as well. I thought it would work well, and I wasn't wrong in the end. I combined jungle and spruce wood for the entrance to the workshop area and the entrance to the actual house. I made a pile of different rocks like diorite, granite, and deep slate, which I surrounded with trapdoors to simulate a sort of platform. Then I covered everything with some campfires. Here's when I changed the white terracotta to a white block combo shaded with light gray concrete powder. I started adding foliage by using some leaves under the windows. Then I added some brown shapes onto the roof to add even more color to the build. And I added my usual window shutters. In the last episode, I promised I'd show you a different way to make chimneys, and now is finally the time. I used some stained glass, and I abused the fact that the server I built on has no block updates to add interesting shapes into the glass. Oh, I forgot to mention, I build everything on the bakery server. I highly suggest you join it too. It boasts a bunch of amazing building tools that you can use, and there are a lot of people willing to help you improve as well. The next thing I did was reinforcing the wall and the angled part of the build with some wood. I've never done this before, but I like the vibe it gives to the build, so I'm happy with it. I added some more moss to the walls and some glow lichen to help it blend in. I completed the roof with some packed mud, and then I added spruce leaves along the base of the house. Although, this time, I added some nether sprouts to play with the idea of flowering bushes. The final touches on the build were changing the tuff wall to the same stony texture that I used on the main walls, adding some fences on top of the roof, and making the wooden overhang a little asymmetrical. And now, the build is finished. I really appreciate it if you've watched this video so far. I'm trying to improve my videos each time, and to make them as interesting as possible for you. I'm still new to this, but I'm happy with the progress I've made so far. All the comments you have been leaving have truly made my day, and I'm glad to say I don't think I'll stop posting videos anytime soon. So I'll just see you on the next one.